So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a wet, gloomy Friday evening, isn't it? Let's continue with where we stopped yesterday. We were discussing the model of TQM because in question number 2, the remaining 2 parts were from quality-related concepts. So, not yesterday, it was day before, isn't it? Yesterday was a holiday. So, customer focus, first in class in quality, I explained that, I can remember explaining those parts. Continuous improvement, competitive benchmarking, employee empowerment, and supplier quality. So, just to do a quick recap, TQM, Total Quality Management, is a philosophy which simply tells it involves everyone in the organization to contribute towards quality. So, if you can remember the example that I gave you on, I think I would have quoted an example on restaurants as to how they greet you from the point you enter and then after dining and leaving. So, that's total quality management, and that's about that. So, let's move into, there are some couple of quality related concepts which I would like to discuss so that we could finish them off. That's, the 4 dimensions of quality cost, which is appraisal, prevention, internal failure and external failure. So, we'll finish all the quality related concepts with this particular discussion. Right, so we discussed about TQM, which is a quality related concept. Then comes this, which is quality cost. Now, quality cost can be broken down into 2 main categories. They are, so quality cost can be broken down into 2 main categories. They are quality conformance and quality non-conformance. Now, well, studying this particular theory has multiple advantages. I'll tell you the first advantage. That's obviously if they give you a question from this particular model, it helps you. Number 2, the question might not be directly from this model, but if you are to comment about quality, you can use these technical terms to support your answer. So, those are the advantages that I see discussing about quality related cost. So, quality conformance are broken down into 2. That's what you see in the slide. Appraisal cost and prevention cost. Quality non-conformance are broken down into 2, internal failure and external failure costs. Internal failure and external failure. I'll explain that. Right. First of all, what is quality conformance? It's basically the cost that you will incur to obey quality standards. That means to have proper quality standards. The cost that you will ensure to take measures that you are in line with the quality standards, that you adhere to the quality standards. That means taking certain measures to tell everyone or to ensure that the organization has quality controls in place. Example, now if you take appraisal cost, now if you look at the English meaning of appraisal, appraisal is basically evaluation, checking, right? So, checking whether quality standards are in place. So, the salary is paid to all quality related staff or specifically to the quality control department. So, what does the quality control department do? They check whether everything is whether everything is as per the quality standards. This is the check. So, it's an appraisal cost. Checking whether everything is according to the quality standards. Checking quality. Appraisal cost is checking whether everything. So, salary is paid to the quality control department, supervisors, all those will come under appraisal costs. Why? Because it's in the endeavor of checking whether everything is as per the quality standards. That's clear, right? Prevention cost is the cost that you will incur to prevent a defect. The cost that you will the cost that you will incur to ensure that a defect, a quality related defect will not occur. So what can you do? You can train your employees. You can train your employees. So there won't be any sort of a defect. It might be a defect related to the product, or maybe it might be a health and safety rule depending upon the industry and the business that you're taken into. I'll give you an example for that. Now, as you all know, health and safety rules are very prominent these days. So if you take a company such as Toyota, before they enter into their factory floor, they have a particular kit that they need to wear. And if you're operating certain stuff, there are certain gloves and stuff that you need to wear. So that's, and the other thing is, because recently we did a project on Toyota, there is a norm that you cannot climb more than 10 feet or something like that. Unless you have 2 or 3 people with you. I can't remember whether it's 10 feet or 7 feet or whatever it is, but there is a norm. You cannot climb because that's how they have trained their employees. So that they will ensure that everything is according to the quality standards. 100% quality adherence. So Toyota has another thing which I was a bit surprised is the way that they address people. So they address people. Anyone working at Toyota here? Anyone working at Toyota here? No one. Okay, so if there was someone, so he would have justified what I am saying. So they call everyone as San. So your name and San. Now my friend's name is Yasas, so they call him Yasas-san. I was wondering what the hell is Yasas-san, because I call him Yasas, so he says Yasas-san. So my name is Trevin, so they would address me as Trevin-san. So san is, it's like a respect that you give, like, it's like a word that we use in Sinhalese, like Mahata. So that's san, so Trevin-san, Yasas-san, Sampath-san, and likewise. So that's a particular norm. But anyway, coming back to prevention costs, you train the employees. My goodness, training, you can go on and on. To boost their morale, especially if this is regarding product quality. So if you train your employees according to the way in which you want them to work, that will ensure that a defect will not happen. So you have trained them, do it in this way, so at the end of the day, there won't be a defect. So prevention cost, preventing what? A defect. Upgrade, process improvement, having good infrastructure. That's a prevention cost. Now, if I just go along this example of Toyota, if an employee is working in a particular department, and let's say the job that he has to do is fixing a tire into a particular vehicle, maybe an Aqua or whatever it is. And let's say whatever the toolkit that he needs to have is about 10-15 meters away from him. So, he has to go to this place. Let's assume if it is 10-15 meters away, he has to go take the toolkit and then come to the place where he is and then do the fixing of the tire. Now, let's say it takes about 1 minute to go and come, or let's say 40 seconds. Now that in the Toyota system, they call it as the TPS, the Toyota production system, it's seen as a waste. The Japanese term they use for that is muda, M-U-D-A, muda. So it's taken as a muda or a waste, because whatever the resources that you need should be in that vicinity. So it should be in an arm's length distance. So they are in a small truck kind of a thing. It's like a small wheelchair. So they even don't stand up to walk. So they are in a small wheelchair. If they want to, travel, it's just the wheelchair would take them. And whatever the toolkit, it's fixed in that particular wheelchair kind of a thing. So it's in close proximity. You take it and you finish it off, job done, saves time. So the company's cost of getting those equipment, fixing those wheelchairs, all are as a result of, process improvement, to improve the process, to save time. Classic example for prevention cost, right? So all they do all that to ensure that there won't be a defect. So I hope that's clear. So appraisal cost as well as prevention cost, if you take both together, it is what we call as quality conformance. That means cost which you will spend to ensure that a defect will not happen. That means cost that you spend to ensure that you adhere to quality, obey the quality standards. So that's quality conformance. Now let's move into the next one, which is quality non-conformance, which is this: internal failure cost and external failure cost. Now what is internal failure cost? Now this is where a defect has occurred. There is a problem with the product. There is a product defect. But the company has taken measures, the company will spend money to ensure that a product with a defect doesn't reach the customer. Stoppage cost. Now I'll give you an example. There was a, not American water bottle, but another very popular reputed mineral water bottle company. I can remember reading that in a journal article. Basically in this particular water bottle, mineral water bottle, there was a chemical which was mixed by mistake, and apparently it was not good for the human system. So there was, it's a multinational company and you're talking of producing in bulk. So since there was this chemical mixed by mistake, the company said, well, they announced and they advertised saying that, look, there is this batch, do not purchase this bottle, our brand, under this batch because it contains a chemical which happened by mistake. We apologize and please ensure that you do. So this is what we call a stoppage cost. You stop a product with a defect going into the customer's hand. Now there is a, now why do you call it internal failure? Now there is a problem here, no? Problem is there is a product with a defect. So it's a failure. But why do they call it internal failure? It doesn't affect your customer. Before it goes to the customer, you somehow take measures to prevent that. So basically if there is a stoppage cost, you will, if you have to buy that back, so even buy back, scrap and rework, or maybe if you try, if there is a problem with the product, if you try to lower the selling price, that will also take, that will be also taken under internal failure. So that's a classic example for that, the water bottle company trying to stop that entire batch going into the customer's hands. And what happened? What happened as a result of this was, next session or next quarter, the company witnessed a massive increase in their sales because the customers had more faith in the brand, because they thought, it's a brand that they could trust. Now, if you take this brand Edna, which was Edna has so many products, but I hope you can remember they had this chocolate brand, and actually at one point they were the market leader as well, and it was competing with Candos and the other brands. But there was a rumor that there was a chemical, some chemical which was not good for the human system. And what did they do? They denied. They said, no, there is no such thing. So that's that's a typical response by a Sri Lankan, because we deny. We don't want to admit that we are wrong, right? So what happened? People didn't buy it. I don't think Edna is still. You might see Edna chocolates here and there, but it is not at the scale that it used to be. Because Edna at that time, I can remember, if you watch a teledrama or whatever it is, you will see about 1,500 advertisements running here and there telling buy Edna chocolates. But not anymore. Why? Because this particular rumor tarnished their brand. So, if there is a problem, and if you take measures to prevent it going into the customer's hand, that's what we call as an internal failure cost. I hope that's clear. External failure cost, there is a product, there is a defect, and it goes to the customer's hand, and you get to know about that from the customer. Right? You get to know about that from the customer. There are so many examples that you can quote where customers are not happy. Right? Now, a recent example was there's this popular celebrity, Enrique, came to Sri Lanka, and as you know, it was a huge chaos. It was a chaotic situation because people were not happy because they were expecting some 2 or 3 hour show, and it was apparently some few minutes, and this guy comes late, and people were not happy in the way in which they entered. People who had spent a lot of money, they were not getting that, that particular view that they should have got, and it was a chaotic situation. And you would have seen a lot of Facebook status updates and posts and people criticizing this particular concert, and it came to a point where the organizers had to even refund, right? So that's a classic example for external failure cost. The customers complain. What happens? A lot of things happen. Loss of goodwill. The brands are tarnished. What's a good example where the companies sell a product which is not that good, and they are criticized? Another good example is there was a journal which criticized the Coke product, saying that it had so much of sugar, a product which has so much of sugar, which is not good to the human system. And the Coke product was criticized heavily. Now, and then Coke, the brand, they had the response for that, saying that if you are not happy, don't buy our product, simple as that. But if there is something very negative, now you can't say that it as a product defect because it's an inherent feature of the product. So external failures, there is a problem, it goes to the customer's hand, and then the customers complain about it. Now, for example, let's say you buy a mobile phone and the mobile phone doesn't work. There is a problem. And then this guy, comes to your company and he wants a refund or a one-to-one replacement. And if the company doesn't give it, it goes on newspapers and all these other places. And that's external failure cost for you. And that has happened to me personally. Where you buy a mobile phone and it doesn't work, and they are reluctant to give you a one-to-one replacement or at least a full refund, right? And then you're so mad about it, and it's negative word of mouth, and that tarnishes the brand. So likewise, we can go on, but I think you get the idea. You see where I'm coming from. Now, quality non-conformance is basically the quality related costs that you incur after a defect is materialized. Quality conformance is before a defect is materialized, before problem is materialized. Here there is a problem and you are trying to mitigate it. You can do it internally, or maybe it happens and it goes to the customer's hand, and then you're trying to get it sorted. So there you go. That's quality cost. Now, whenever you see a quality related problem in a scenario, you can always use these terms. Let's say there was something saying a customer complains regarding a particular product that the company offered. So you can say, with reference to the scenario, the company incurs a substantial amount of external failure costs since there are a lot of complaints from the customers. So you can write, and you can use, as I said, you can use the name of the company Again, yesterday's or day before, we were discussing about a company called BC4. So you can say BC4 is currently incurring a substantial amount of external failure because due to customer complaints or blah blah blah. So whenever you use a technical term and relate it to the scenario, that adds value to your answer. So that adds value to your answer. So there you go, that's quality cost. Another quality related concept is the Kaizen concept, which is a Japanese concept. Basically, Kaizen is continuous improvement. Right? Kaizen is continuous improvement. Well, there are so many products that has gone through this pipeline of continuous improvement, and as a result of that, where we have a better product now. If you look at the most popular products, such as the products which are becoming innovative, these are as a result of continuous improvement. iPhone recently released their new version, and as a result of their anniversary, they released a new product, and all of these products, these new products that these people release are as a result of continuous improvement. As I said, Toyota, for a year, they evaluate 1,500 plus opinions, which is given from employees to improve their particular system. Certain suggestions are like how they can reduce waste of time, how they can bring in new equipment, how they can make it IT related, things like that. So Kaizen is basically continuous improvement, and well, some popular features: widely applicable, highly effective. It's a learning experience, and it's a team-based, cross-functional. I think I discussed about this in the last lecture, where I said the employees of Toyota, they meet in what we call as quality circles. It's like a set of team members meeting together to discuss as to how they can improve on quality. So we can go into the technical details, but not that important. But as you can see, teamwork, professional discipline, improved morale, quality, suggestions for improvement. These are some main elements of Kaizen. And let's not go into detail because it's just something which I would like to discuss briefly. So there you go. So we discussed three concepts regarding quality. Number one, starting with TQM. Number two, the quality related costs. And number three, Kaizen. Kaizen is continuous improvement. So let's quickly move on to question number 2, part B, and complete that question and move into the next question. Question number 2, part B. Question number 2, part B says, describe the advantages of quality standards ISO 9000 certification to BC4. Now, first of all, if you can remember, day before yesterday, we were discussing about a company where they had problems related to quality. So I don't want to waste time reading that case again. It was a bit of a question. This is question number 2, BC4. The company had problems regarding quality standards because they had 3 factories and the quality standards were at different levels, not at the same level. So what did the managing director do? He got a consultant and he asked the consultant to find as to why they are having problems like this. And that has resulted in poor financial performance also. So one thing that the consultant figured out was that they are not doing segmentation, market segmentation, which we discussed in the last lecture. And the other problem that they have is not having proper quality standards, and one of the officials recommended to have the ISO standard. So if you can get the ISO certification, then you have to bring the procedures of the business to that level so that you get the certificate, the ISO certificate. And likewise, and then finally, in the latter part of this particular question, one of the production managers suggested to have a quality control inspector. So this is the scenario in a nutshell. Now the question is this: describe the advantages of quality standards ISO 9000 certification to BC4. Right now, well, so this is a small answer plan. The managing director feels significant benefits to BC4 might arise through gaining a quality standard ISO 9000. The international ISO, and this is it's an introduction on quality standards. Now that's not the important part. The important part is to get 10 marks, how are you going to construct the answer? Well, so if you look at the number of marks awarded for this, you're getting 10 marks, right? As I told you all yesterday, once you figure out how many marks are awarded, best thing for you to do is to identify how the marking scheme will be formulated for this. So if it's a 10-mark question and you're supposed to write benefits of getting an ISO certification. So with the time that is available, let's say you decided to write 4 benefits. So benefit 1, benefit 2, benefit 3, and benefit 4. So maybe you assume that they gave 2.5 to the benefits, and that's how you get your 10 marks. So then how should you structure your answer? You should not number, just now you should not number. Now for example, let's say the first benefit, it can be anything. Now I have said improved efficiency through standardized practices. That means the efficiency level will increase if you have the same way of doing things. Because there is a problem. Now, the reason why I picked this was because in the scenario they say that there are several factories operating under different efficiency levels. That means certain factories are having quality standards or they are maintaining quality standards above average. Some factories are adhering to quality standards which is below average. So every factory, they are not having the same standard. So that's why standardization was introduced, or that is why I recommended that as a benefit. Now it doesn't need to be like that. You can have any benefit you want. There is no black or white answer for this. So what will earn you marks is you write whatever the benefit you want, and you in your explanation you justify that. You say why you see this as a benefit. So in this you will see that in my answer I have justified this, and this is the reason why I just told you now. So well, so that's what you're going to write. And then second benefit, justification. Third benefit, justification, and likewise. I told this in the last lecture as well. Maybe when you came to the third benefit, you ran out of time, and the amount of time that you allocated for this particular sub-question is over. At the third benefit, do not take some additional time and write the fourth benefit. It's not worth it. You stop at the third one, leave some space, and you jump into the next requirement. And once you have attempted all the questions, if there is any time remaining, then you come to this. That's how it should be done. Because as I said, the next question that you attempt, or maybe the third or fourth question that you attempt might be easier than this, which will score you a lot of marks. Although you have put a lot of effort to write this answer, maybe you don't get that much of marks. I don't know. It depends on the question. So it's not worth, to spend a lot of time on one question. Once the time is over, you stop and you move into the next one. That is how it should be. Right. Let's go through few. I think I have a lot, but let's go through few benefits just to show you how the justification needs to be done. the management consultant has identified different operating efficiencies both within and between BC4 factories. Different operating, that means certain factories are operating above average, below average, and it's fluctuating. Now this particular benefit is directly plucked from the scenario. This is not a benefit that you're taking from the textbook, or this is not a benefit that you're writing in general. This is a benefit that you have taken from the scenario. So I mean, it's like this. So now this question will never come for your actual exam paper, but the lesson learned is, for whatever the question that appears at the exam day, how will you prepare yourself to formulate an answer that gives you a lot of marks? Right. So now, second paragraph, by gaining ISO 9000, BC4 will develop a system that should lead to standardized practices, greater productivity, and maintenance of consistently dependable processes. So guys, now basically what are you writing here? The good side of bringing ISO, and basically the benefits, positives of bringing the ISO, because you cannot write about the negatives, because they said write the benefits, isn't it? So there is a problem, and by bringing ISO, this is the benefit for the company. So problem and the benefit, the problem and how it will be benefit. I hope you get the idea there. Next one, elimination of inefficiencies. Let's go through that. The need to agree upon common modes of operating standards to be achieved will allow BC4, that's the name of the company, to identify the most efficient process, so driving out bad practice and efficient problems. Yeah. Now, once you get an ISO certification, it will tell you what are the activities which are value adding and what are the activities which are non-value adding. So you remove all the non-value adding activities and you are remained with your focusing on the value adding activities. So a pretty straightforward benefit. Mechanism for quality control. If you have ISO certification, that drives or that supports quality control. The need for quality control records means that once a recognized mechanism is in place, effective quality control mechanism can be established. Compliance can readily be assessed by the conformance for a particular operation to the agreed standard. So definitely you need to have quality control in getting the certification. Now this is a broader benefit, which is customer satisfaction. Now guys, one thing which I have remembered is, whatever the benefits that I am putting here on the slide are not the ones that should be there at the exam. I mean, how can I rephrase it? These are not the blocked answers. That means the examiner will not expect each and every student to write the same 4 benefits. I hope you got the idea now. No, you will write totally 4 different benefits. But you have taken time in your explanation, you have taken time to justify it. That's okay. That's totally okay. So if you look at, once you come to the higher levels of whatever the professional exam, including chartered accounts to ACCA or CIMA or whatever it is, it's a common feature that we see throughout, that at the strategic level or at the top level or at what we call in chartered accounts as the business and the corporate level, there are no black or white answers for this. It's all about justification. It's all about how you justify it. Customer satisfaction, how? The management consultant identified a trend in increasing return goods. Now, this is where I am trying to say there is a problem with customer satisfaction. Because if you read the scenario, it says that there are so many people, so many customers returning goods, and there are customer complaints. And so this means the customers are not currently receiving products with the quality they expect. Second paragraph. The standardized practices guaranteed by a company complying with ISO will mean that consistently dependable processes and products will help reverse this situation. So, in other words, in literal terms, what you're trying to say is, currently customers are not happy. So, while if you write that, you have to say why they are not happy, and it's basically return goods. The scenario tells that there are so many goods that are returning. By writing that, you are showing the examiner, look, I am taking this from the scenario. And then in the second paragraph, you are saying, by bringing ISO to the table, it will eliminate that. Why? Because there will be standardized practices. So there will be dependable processes. Products with quality will go to the customer's hands. That's it. Now, another student might say, improvement in customer care, or increase in the customer base, or increase in market share. Same thing, you would have said increase in market share. Your benefit would be increase in market share. And what will you write? You say currently customers are not happy because the scenario says there are return goods. And that's the first part. Second part, you say, well, if you bring ISO on the table, there will be dependable processes and customers are going to be happy, and then you will have more customers. More customers simply means that more market share. Same thing in a different way. So I think that's the most important part. So the reason why I just told you this is because now I think from today until the exam day, looking at the time that is available, you will be doing a lot of past questions, as well as maybe you're referring through a lot of scenarios of different professional bodies as well. Now, whatever that you see as the answer are not fixed answers. They are not black or white blocked answers. So whatever the answer that you put in place, as far as you can justify it, you're okay. Right. So I'll not go through the rest. So there are some more examples. Improved employee morale is another one. Company's reputation increasing is another one. So on and so forth. You can move on. Let's quickly finish this question with the last part, which is the last requirement, which says, describe briefly how the production manager's suggestion could benefit BC4 as part of an alternative quality control system. Okay. Now, well, out of the three requirements, this is the one which is a bit lengthy in terms of the requirement. Now, when you get a question like this, first of all, you need to understand what exactly are they trying to say here. Discuss is the verb. The verb is discuss. What does discuss mean? The good side and the bad side. The good side and the bad side of what? Briefly, so the reason why they put briefly is because it's for 5 marks. How the production manager's suggestion. No, first of all, you have to see what is the production manager. So we'll have to see that. What's that? I think, it's the last sentence, guys. Page number 3. If you read the last sentence, it says, the production manager has, however, previously suggested to him. Now, who is him? The managing director, no? Yeah, it's the manager. So, production manager has told the managing director, the way forward is to employ a dedicated quality control inspector as part of the quality control system. Okay, that's the suggestion. And now we know the suggestion. So if you're not clear about what it is, you go through the scenario and see exactly what this is all about. If not, how are you going to write an answer for that? Discuss briefly how the production manager suggestion. We know what the suggestion is. What is the suggestion? Production manager says to the managing director, to have good quality control, have a quality control inspector. Employ a quality control inspector. If you have an inspector, then quality will automatically come into place. That's the suggestion. Discuss briefly how the production suggestion could benefit BEC4 as a part of an alternative quality control system. That means bringing in an inspector, a quality control inspector, how will it benefit the company as being part and parcel of this quality control system? That means you have the quality control system. To the quality control system, you plug in an inspector. If you plug in an inspector, how will it benefit the company? That is what they are asking. So now you have understood the requirement from A to Z. I'll tell you, most of the time, I would say a good 60% of the candidates at the exam day will not understand the requirement. So many reasons. Number one, you are in a panic situation. Number two, there is a lot of exam stress. Number three, you look for the keyword. Now what's the keyword? Quality control. And you forget all of this and you write about quality control. Now if you write about quality control, or sometimes you might write about benefits of quality control. Now imagine if you write about benefits of quality control for this requirement, will you get even 1 mark or 2 marks? I don't think so. Because benefits of quality control is not the main substance of this requirement. This is there is an exact keyword and there is an exact path. There is an exact path which the examiner is asking you to walk. He is asking you, simply saying, look, the production manager gave a suggestion. What's the suggestion? To the quality control system, plug and inspect. I want you to write the benefits to the company if an inspector comes. Okay, fine, problem. Let's write. And that's how things should be working in your mind. So let's see. Now the benefits again for 5 marks, I would say 2 benefits is enough. If you can have 2 benefits, because 2.5 plus 2.5 gives you the 5 marks. So basically in your answer sheet, in your answer booklet, you have 2 headings. So this would be the first one. Potential for quality control and subsequent ISO accreditation. The use of a dedicated quality control inspector is an example of quality control mechanism traditionally found in technical production process. A quality inspector's task would be to compare the actual quality with the expected quality. Such quality control mechanisms could form the basis of later adoption under ISO. So what is this benefit all about? So you are trying to say, if you bring in an inspector, now it will be easy for you to get the certificate. Because quality control is a traditional method, and by having quality control, it will be easy for you to obtain the certificate, to get the accreditation. So you're trying to make your argument on that. Now guys, did you see? This is not benefits of quality control. This is the benefits of getting an inspector. Now the question was not about write the benefits of bringing in a quality control inspector. How did they throw the question at you? They phrased it by saying production manager's suggestion. So you have to read it. If you read it properly, you need to recall saying that, look, production manager's suggestion was all about bringing in the quality control inspector. Fine. Sufficient for BC4's needs. ISO accreditation, like total quality management, and is a quality assurance system. Yeah, ISO is a quality assurance system. It should, however, be acknowledged that a quality assurance system are in certain ways superior to quality control. However, the use of quality control inspectors and the quality control system generally may suit BC4's immediate needs more readily. So what I'm trying to say is, currently they have big problems of customers returning goods, and there are so many issues like that. So if you bring an inspector, that will be a solution, quick solution. That's it. So there are so many others, but I will not go through, but I'll just give you the benefits. Reducing external failure cost, which is something that we learned under quality control. I have used this as a technical term. Direct address of the organizational weaknesses, speed and cost, and so on and so forth, right? So I hope you got the idea there. Right, so with that we complete question number 2, and we have completed STP, which is a theory. We completed TQM, quality cost, and Kaizen. So those are the 4 areas that we discuss through this question. As I said, let's move into the marketing ones first, finish them off, and then move into HR ones, and then let's go ahead with the rest, because these are the important areas. Please take some time and go through question number 1. Please read question number 1. It's on product life cycle. So I intend to do product life cycle today. You got some kind of an idea about the scenario. I'll just give you another, after we go through the product life cycle to see where the product should be placed, I'll just give you another 1 minute or so for you to decide where it should be placed. But if you can't recall what the theory is, so let's discuss what this is all about, and then let's analyze the scenario in detail. Right. Now this is a marketing concept, a product life cycle, which tries to spot and which tries to place products under different phases of time, depending on how popular and how good the product is. So actually this is the diagram that you see under the product life cycle, which has actually it might start from here, which is here. You can call it development also, the development stage, where you try to develop a product. So you can have a development stage, which are products which are under testing. Development stage, that's not that important, but the real model starts from the introduction stage. So introduction, growth, maturity, and decline. Right, decline. So let's start with this introduction. Now, introduction phase is where a company has just introduced a new product and people are in the process of getting to know about that product. It's not that popular. The adoption rates are very low, so that's a good feature. Low adoption rates, right? Low adoption rates. So people are not using it frequently. It has low adoption rates. I'll give you an example. 3D TVs. Electric vehicles are classic examples for this. Now, 3D TVs, we know that there are 3D TVs, but now if I ask everyone present here, how many of you all have a 3D TV at home? I think maybe 1 or 2 or maybe none. Now, I don't have a 3D TV because simply I can't afford it. And the other thing is people don't watch TV nowadays, so I wonder really why you need to have a 3D TV, but there might be certain people who, who likes 3D TVs as well. Whatever said and done, 3D TVs, we know it's there, but it's something new and it's quite expensive. And the adoption rates are very low. When I say adoption rates, people who are using it, it's at a very lower level. Same story with electric vehicles. I'm sure maybe 1 or 2 of the ones who are presented here from you all might be using electric vehicles. We know it's there, but adoption rates are very low. Maybe it's slowly increasing, but we know it's there. People are worried about carbon emissions, and to have a green, in sense, have what we call as less greenhouse gas emissions. So electric vehicles are, it's on the table, but it's very few who are using it. So then the product is at the introduction stage. Another important feature, as I said, low adoption, and at the introduction stage, there can be a very high failure rate also. By the products which are not working, it's a failure. It doesn't move forward. So there you go. So that's the introduction stage. Products and so main features are, well, low adoption rates, massive spending on advertising to make product awareness. So much of marketing campaigns. Just imagine when Coca-Cola was introduced, Ceylon Coal stores, Coca-Cola, there's a huge marketing campaign for that. Massive amounts were spent. And so that's simply to make awareness of the product. Same story. So I hope you got the idea there. Introduction. Growth. So as you can see, the vertical axis of this particular diagram is sales. Horizontal axis is time. So sales, as you can see, there's a rapid increase. Classic example, smartphones. Smartphones are, it's on the table. My goodness, people are into that big time. Guys, if I'm sure you knew about this, if you take in the 1990s or so, the phones that people used, it was this huge phone, massive phone which had an antenna on it, and you cannot press a button by using your thumb, and you had to press the buttons like this, and it was a massive phone. Then came 2000s, 2001, 2, then comes Nokia with that cute little it's not a smartphone, a cute little phone. It was a smaller phone in size. Nokia 1100 and things like that. Durable products, even if you dash it on the ground, nothing will happen. Now you have your iPhone, it slips off, happy birthday. That's how that works. But Nokia phones, durable products, and people liked it because, the comparison, the benchmark, the comparison was between that huge phone and that small phone, right? I can remember there were brands like Alcatel and so many stuff. But Nokia was the market leader. 2003, 2004, 2005, 6, 7, Steve Jobs introduces the iPhone, and that was a breakthrough product. And everyone was wondering what this is all about. And well, it's not the same iPhone that we are using now, but it has the salient features of the phones, like the app, internet browsing, camera, inbuilt camera, and things like that. But Nokia thought that, well, this will be a product which will be for the high-end market, for for the people who are for the people who are having a lavish lifestyle, like for the high-end market. You get what I'm saying, isn't it? But it came to a point where now I'm sure every one of us here has a smartphone, because if you don't have a smartphone, you have problems. Like, how are going to people contact you through WhatsApp and Viber and emails, and you're going to have a lot of problems. It's crazy because if you don't reply to a WhatsApp or a Viber message for, like, say, consecutively 4 or 5 hours for some mistake, people might think you're dead. It has come to that point. But now replying is so easy, because if you take on Viber as well as on WhatsApp, you got stickers. So you don't need to type, but you can use the sticker, like call me later or good morning. There's a sticker. You don't need to type. The sticker goes and says good morning or things like that. But now it's the smartphone. Everyone has it. So Nokia was wrong to make that assumption, saying that, look, this product is for the high-end market. Not really. Now everyone has it. Even the guy who plucks coconut will have it. He will ask you, I'll WhatsApp. Shall I WhatsApp? This is what I did last week. This is what I am going to do next, or whatever it is. Everyone has it. Smartphones is on the growth stage. What else? Tablet PCs. Tablet PCs has a growing market. Tablet PCs are having a growing market. Now guys, let's look at what are the salient features. Well, when you're in the growth stage, since your sales are increasing, you will have rivals, competitors. Now when iPhone came, then comes Samsung, HTC. And all these fellows, they come into the market because they see gold in that particular industry. So you get rivals, competitors. Tablet PCs, Google Nexus, iPad to, tablet PC. Samsung comes with their tablet PC. Then comes, Amazon comes with another one, I forget their name. But there's a tablet PC. Amazon came with a tablet PC. So, things are moving in such a way where you have a lot of rivals coming. Because people see, my goodness, this is a good industry. It's a growing market. Lot of revenue. We should do this as well. So, lot of rivals, lot of competitors, and the other thing is, if you want to be good, you need to have differentiation. Product differentiation. That's another feature here. Product differentiation. So, introduction, very low adoption rates, heavy marketing, growth stage, increase in sales, rivals coming in, new entrants to the market. So, smartphone, iPhone comes, Samsung comes, HTC comes, and likewise. So many people do it. Tablet PCs, iPad to the Samsung tablet PCs to Google Nexus, all these things. So, all the entities are trying in their way of getting into that market. Growth. So I hope that's clear, right? That's understandable. Maturity is where, as you can see, sales hits the highest level. And you will see sometimes a slight drop. Now that's a very important point to note here. So as you can see, maturity, now if you look at this particular area, this region, this is what we call as early maturity. And this is what we call as late maturity. So each phase of the product life cycle can be defined as early and late. So early maturity and late maturity. Now what is maturity? Sales have hit the highest level possible. And there is no way that you can increase sales. So after a particular point, the sales are going to drop. Example, laptop PCs, laptops, televisions. It's at the maturity stage. Right? Now, I don't think no one I hardly see advertisement on a TV unless it's like a fully fledged new, it's like something new, like, smart TVs. Samsung comes up with that smart TV. I'm talking about normal TVs that we use at home. No one advertises that, isn't it? Sometime back they would have, but not anymore. Laptops. I don't think anyone, I rarely would see an advertisement on the TV or radio about laptops. So you don't have a lot of marketing budgets here. But what you will have is, there will be a lot of price cuts because you are competing. Example, mobile network, Dialog, Mobitel, mobile networks at the maturity stage. So you will see a lot of price cutting. So you call this price wars. I don't know, Dialog and Mobitel. So per second, so you will see a lot of, copying as well. Now I can remember, I don't know whether Dialog came with this or Mobitel came with this. Either one of them started with a per second package, per second charge, and the other fellow copied it. I think it was Dialog and Mobitel copied it or something like that. Dialog comes with my 10, Mobitel comes with another 10, right? Per second, Abhimana package for something which is exclusive, Dialog comes with something else. So I don't know. So a lot of, you try to copy what the competitors are doing. And again, the bad side of price cutting is it can result in a price war. Dialog says, okay, it's 30 cents per second, 30 cents, and they reduce it to 15. These people might reduce it to 12. So these people reduce it to 9. These people might reduce it to 4 or something like that. So price war is dangerous. It might come to a point where they would give free of charge or something like that. I don't know. But it's dangerous. It's not good. If one person gives free of charge, the other person might say, we'll give you money. You take a call, we'll give you money. But price cutting is bad, so that's why oligopolies are formed. So maturity stage. Now, there's one point that you need to understand, that products can be in the maturity stage for a long time. Now, TVs are in the maturity stage for a long time. It's not instantly you are in the maturity and then it's decline. No. You can be in the maturity stage for a long time. And then comes decline. Products that face a fall in sales. Radio. I hardly think people buy radio now. The only point you will buy a radio is if you want to fix it to your vehicle. Because when you're driving, you can't watch TV because that will increase the accident rate. So the only way is listening to the radio, and apart from that, I don't see any reason for a person to buy a radio. Even the so-called branded, things like the iPod. iPod was used, even iPod is declining. Because why do you want an iPod when you have a phone? The iPod was a device where you could listen to music, right? It was a device you can listen to music. You put the headset and you have the iPod. So why do you want that when you have the phone? I don't know. So it might be in the decline stage. I forget the name of, I can remember buying that some time back, which was, is it the VCR, which is like a portable CD player? I hope you can remember that. It is a portable CD, you put the CD and then you have the headset and you go in the bus or whatever it is listening to music. You call it the VCR or what do you call it? I forget the name. So that's still in the decline. So sometimes even TV might be at late maturity or early decline, right? Because even TV broadcasting might be late maturity and decline. TV, because people are not watching TV. So selling TVs is a different thing and TV broadcasting is a different thing. Talk about the TV channels. Because now people don't watch TV. People, they watch, whatever the videos or the programs, you watch it through social media and YouTube, isn't it? Even the teledramas and the cricket matches or whatever it is. Hardly people watch TVs. It's the elderly generation in Sri Lanka who are attached to watching TV programs. So that's how that works. So there you go. That's the product life cycle. So basically, if you have this type of an idea about what the product life cycle is, and if you know the salient features of each stage, that will surely help you to get a good idea about this. Now guys, one thing that you need to understand is whatever products that you introduce, if you introduce something new here, it will push another product to go to the decline. That's another interesting observation. Whatever the new product that is introduced here, it will push another product to move towards decline. Example, social media is killing TV. Social media is killing TV, because no one watches TV now, right? Why will you watch TV? If it's the elections, you will watch TV. If it's like the World Cup final, you will watch the TV. But apart from that, I don't see a reason. Unless you are a heavy teledrama person, you will watch TV. And that's how it works. Typewriters, not anymore. The laptops and the tablet species, and these have killed typewriters. You don't need tablet. Desktop PCs have killed typewriters. You don't need it anymore. So there you go, that's it. So that's product life cycle. So the slide has so many things regarding each point, but I think that explanation helps you to understand the substance. So if you go introduction stage, these are some salient features. Growth stage, maturity, what we discussed, and decline. And there you go, that's the product life cycle. So now, I'll just give you 1 minute to go through the products that you see, that you read, and try to figure out where you should place them in the product life cycle. Or if you can come up with a quick diagram mentioning where the product should be, that will be a good exercise. It's always better to read the requirement first and then read the scenario. Because once you read the requirement is like your boss. It tells you what to do. So it should be a customarily thing for you to read the requirement first and then read the scenario. So that's the best way to move forward. Question number 1, part A, briefly explain how the product life cycle model can be used to analyze the current product portfolio of 3C. That is before the planned investment. That means there should be a planned investment before that. How the product life cycle, briefly how the product life cycle model can be used to analyze the current product portfolio. How you can use it to analyze the portfolio, the group of products. Right, let's go through it, guys. So let's read the question. 3C is a medium-sized pharmaceutical company. It is based in Sri Lanka, but distributes and sells its products worldwide. In common with other pharmaceutical companies, 3C has a large number of products in its portfolio. Though most of these are still being developed, the success rate of new drugs is very low and most fail to complete clinical trials or to be believed to be uneconomic to launch. Okay, it's a pharmaceutical company. So product is drugs. Pharmaceutical, no. So you have an idea now. It's a pharmaceutical company. So basically there should be different types of drugs, the types of medicine. So you call it drugs, right? So they say there are a lot of products in the development stage. So once they pass the clinical trials only, they are accepted to be launched. However, the rewards to be gained from a successful new drug are so great that it is only necessary to have a few successful drugs on the market to be very profitable. So they say you don't need to sell a lot. If you come up with a drug which is very profitable, if you even have a few, you're okay, you're well off. You don't need to have a lot. If you have a few drugs and if you have put it in the market, you can make money. Right, so let's move into the next one. At present, 3C is the name of the company, has 240 drugs at various stages of development. So development will be before introduction. So that's before development stage. So 240 drugs are there. Being tested and undergoing clinical trials prior to a decision being made whether to launch the drug. 3C has only 3 products that are actually on the market. 3 products in the market. So now you are looking for what are these 3 products and where are you going to place them in the life cycle diagram. Now once you know where they should be placed, it's very easy for you to comment about it. Because you know, you know everything about, you know about the features of each and every stage. So once you know this is maturity, this is decline, this is introduction, this is whatever it is, growth or whatever it is, you know how to comment. So it's like this, depending on how the company has taken measures to advertise and promote, you have to it's basically like you're being a consultant here. So you can say do this, do that, I don't know, depending on the scenario, it's basically playing by the ear. Right, let's move on. There are 3C has only 3 products that are actually on the market. Epsilon is a drug used in the treatment of heart disease. Okay, so Epsilon is a drug. Why do you use it? For heart disease. It has been available for 8 months and has achieved significant success. So 8 months. So basically you can't, 8 months it's like more or less introduction of growth, but it's like this, just from the time period you can't spot it in the product life cycle. You need to see what's the level of sales and stuff like that. Sales of these drugs are not expected to increase from their current level. So it's not expecting to increase, so it's then should be at the maturity stage. Because sales, as you know, if you can remember the product life cycle, so if you're not expecting it to increase, so basically you're at the top. That means you're not expecting to increase is not a drop in sales. So you're like at the peak, which means like either at the highest point or early maturity. That's where you have to place it. Or it's at the highest point of the product life cycle or early maturity. That is where epsilon is. Now, how did I figure that out? When they said sales of this drug are not expected to increase from their current level. That is how I figured that out. So likewise, I think you got the idea there. Okay, the word was there, fine. Second one is alpha, is a painkiller. It was launched more than 10 years ago and has become one of the leading drugs at its class. In few months, the patent on this drug will expire and other manufacturers will be allowed to produce generic copies of it. So it's one of the most popular drugs for them. And they have got a patent for this and it's going to expire. Once the patent expires, you will see a lot of rivals, people copying it. Alpha is expected to survive a further 12 months after it loses patent and then be withdrawn. So if it's about to be withdrawn, then it should be like late maturity, That means you're at the top and in a few months' time, if they're going to take it off, you can't say it's decline. But it's like this case. Now another student might say decline also. As I said, there is no hard and fast rule here. If you say decline, and if you say why you say, if you justify your argument, you should be awarded marks. But surely you can't say this is development stage or introduction. That is wrong. Product like this, you can't say it's introduction or development. But it can be, swinging around maturity and decline. So, as far as you justify, you're okay. So I would say this is late maturity. Last one. So epsilon is for the heart disease, alpha is the painkiller. Beta is used in the hospital treatment for serious infections. So that is why I use beta. Serious infections. It is a very specialized drug and cannot be obtained from a doctor or a pharmacist for the use of outside the hospital environment. So it's an exclusive drug. It was launched only 3 months ago and has yet to generate significant sales volume. Definitely intro. Definitely introduction. right? So there you go, those are the 3 products. The directors of 3C meet every month to review the product portfolio and to discuss possible investment opportunities. At their next meeting, they are to be asked to consider 3 investments. Due to a limited investment budget, the 3 investments are mutually exclusive. That means you can't take all together. That means they will have to select only one. That is the meaning of mutually exclusive. You can't take all 3 together because of budget constraints. You can only go for one, select one. The options are as follows. So now, as you can see in that square mark, they are trying to give you, so it's like this. First paragraph talked about what this company is, pharmaceutical company. Next, they talked about the products. Now they are saying they want to improve the value of the company and they are looking at 3 investments. And now they are giving information about the 3 investments. So basically, briefly explain how the product life cycle model can be used to analyze the current product portfolio. That is before the planned investment. So with the information now you can comment about this. So basically you talk about what product life cycle is all about, and basically if you can mention where the products are placed. So this is an introduction about what we just discussed. It's an introduction. Now this is from the scenario. Development stage, there are 240 drugs. Introduction or early growth, beta. What is beta? Yeah, the beta is that serious infection. Yeah, definitely introduction, or you can say early growth. This is it. Now, a student might say early growth. Sorry. Another student might say introduction. That's totally okay as far as you justify. Not a problem. Early maturity, epsilon. I think we discussed about that. Alpha is late maturity, so even you can go to the extent of showing it in a diagram like this. Beta, epsilon, alpha. So diagram might, this is not the product life cycle diagram that you're drawing, but you're drawing the diagram in relation to the scenario. That's why you should draw it. If they ask a general question about product life cycle, please don't draw the diagram, no point. Now, there are so many diagrams, like value chain, there is a diagram. Michael Porter's value chain. Porter's 5 forces, there is a diagram. Do not draw that if it is not relevant to the scenario. Now, this will not take even 1 minute, no. So, you quickly draw the diagram, and by placing the products, you are showing the examiner, look, I know the diagram, and I know where it is to be placed also. And why you justify it. And why you justify it. All right. So this is your final comments. The product portfolio of 3C appears at the first sight to be fairly well balanced. In order to make a definitive judgment, it would be necessary to have further information about the likely success rate of the development projects and the relative sales, profit, cash flow profiles of beta, epsilon, alpha. Yeah. Now guys, there's another point which I would like to mention since this came. If by chance, if there is not sufficient information for you to make an argument, and if you can mention that in your answer, that's going to add value. Now actually we would have given a better analysis of these three products, epsilon, alpha and beta, if they gave us the information about the revenues, sales value in detail, cash flows last year, first year likewise, then we would have given a better recommendation. Now you don't have that. What you can do is you can write it down in your answer booklet saying that, well, if information was provided about, as I mentioned here, I would have given a better recommendation. That is good. That shows your analytical skill. That means you have been a candidate who was looking for that information. But now since you don't have it, you mentioned that. If I had, I would have given a better. So it might be like one or two, just one sentence. But that's something that would add value to your answer. All right, that's it. So question number 1, part B. So I have summarized that, the part A. So basically you have to justify your answer. I didn't include that part, but let's move into the next area. Evaluate the potential impact of each of the 3 investments. Option alpha 2, beta, I think that's the investments, 3 investments, on the product portfolio 3C, referring to your answer in part A above. Okay, fine. So let's read that. We stopped at that point about the investments. So page number 2, let's go through the investments one by one. Okay. The directors can invest in a new version of alpha. What is alpha? Painkiller. Alpha 2. So investment in alpha to develop it to alpha 2, which offers improved performance. This will allow 3C to apply for a new patent for alpha 2. So alpha 2 is that product where the patent was about to expire. Okay, so if you invest in alpha 2, it will extend the patent and maintain the level of sales achieved by alpha for an additional 5 years. Alpha 2 has successfully completed all its clinical trials and can be launched immediately. Right, okay, fine. That's about alpha 2. So alpha 2 is all about, developing that, and if you do so, developing an existing product, if you do so, you can have the patent for 5 years and you can have the sales at the same level. Fine. Next one, directors can invest in a major marketing campaign to promote the use of beta to specialist hospital staff. While this investment should lead to a significant growth in the sales of beta, 3C is aware that one of its competitors is actively promoting a rival product with a similar performance to that of beta. So that's the bad side. So we have a rival. So we are trying to promote the use of beta to specialist hospital staff. So you can say it's a niche market, no? Not for everyone. It's for a small target one. It's a niche market. So that's the bad side of that. The other bad side of that is there is a rival company. So this is your cons. Now guys, see the verb. The verb is evaluate. What is evaluate? Throwing the good sides and the bad sides. Highlighting the pros and the cons. Advantages, disadvantages, limitations and drawbacks. Both sides of the coin. Last point. The directors can invest in the final stage of clinical trials for gamma. There was no such product called gamma, right? This is a okay. So this is a new one. Okay. Breakthrough. Breakthrough is new. No? Breakthrough drug. Breakthrough is like new. Something new. Revolutionary. Breakthrough drug. As it has no near rivals on the market, that's why it's breakthrough. Gamma is used in the treatment of HIV. Okay. And offers significantly better success rates than any treatment currently available. So it's for HIV. Breakthrough drug. So introduction. It's an introduction stage. But we are still in the final stages. But the bad side is this. Final stage of clinical trials. Now what if it doesn't pass the clinical trial? That's the bad side. So you go with the investment. What if it doesn't pass the clinical trial? If you go with the promotion, you are trying to promote, no? So you promote. What if this drug doesn't pass the clinical trial? Then it's a problem for us. The team of 3C specialists managing the development of gamma is confident it can successfully complete the clinical trials within 6 months. Confident. But there is also an element of it going wrong. The team also believes that gamma should also be sold at the lowest price possible to maximize the benefit of gamma to the society. However, the marketing development department of 3Z believes that it would be possible to earn very large profits from gamma due to the success rate and the breakthrough stage, that is because it's new. So the marketing guys, they are very confident that they can make a lot of money out of this because they think everyone will start using it, and it has a lot of potential. Right, so let's see how the evaluation is done. 3 investments: alpha, beta and gamma. Now guys, if you were to write the answer for this, how many marks? 15 marks. In your mind, you might think this carries 5 marks each. So the evaluation carries 5 marks each. Yeah, so it carries 5 marks each, and the format is so simple. So you come up with alpha, first paragraph, good side. Leave one line, white space, second paragraph, bad side. Same story for beta and same story for gamma. You are expecting 5 marks for this, 5 marks for this, and 5 marks for this. This might not be the marking scheme, but it's a good marking scheme for you to create on your mind to write an answer. So this is the perfect structure. Now what happens when you write the answer like this? The examiner, whoever corrects your paper, knows, okay, this guy is writing the good side and the bad side of the first investment. This guy is now writing the good side and the bad side of the second investment. Okay, this is directly to the point. Just imagine correcting an answer script of a person who has just written just paragraphs and paragraphs loaded without any type of presentation like this. So that's going to be, very hectic when it comes to marking the paper. So this should be the format. And this, if you do this, I'm sure it's going to increase your marks potential. So guys, let's look at the evaluation. We'll start with alpha. What is alpha? That's the painkiller. They want to bring it to alpha 2, no? Investing in alpha 2 will allow 3C to reposition alpha to the early maturity stage of the product life cycle. As the new product has completed clinical trials, this investment is likely to be low risk. Completed clinical trials. The last one they have not completed clinical trials. So what happens if it doesn't pass? That gamma thing. So low risk. What are you trying to do here? What am I trying to show here to the examiner? This is the good side. This will have positive effects on the product portfolio as it is allowed to continue to generate significant cash flows unless a superior rival product is launched. However, the imminent launch of a generic copies of the original alpha may threaten this drug's market leading position. There is a rival company. They say yeah, but in the original alpha, that's in the middle, and other manufacturers will allow to produce generic copies. So, however, the imminent launch of a generic copies of the original alpha may threaten this drug's market leading position. That's correct. That means before we invest in alpha 2, because the patent is going to expire, if there are generic copies of alpha in the market, and if we go for alpha 2, it might be a bit adverse for us. Might be a bit adverse for us. That's what I'm trying to say. So basically, the idea is this: good side and the bad side. Good side and the bad side. Evaluation. This is how the evaluation should be done. Good side and the bad side. Sometimes, guys, just 1 point is enough, no? You don't need 1500 points. 1 point is enough. Now just imagine this is only 1 point. No? Alpha first paragraph is about what? If you develop it for alpha 2, it will bring it to early maturity, and there is a low risk because it has passed clinical trials. Just one paragraph. I mean, just 1 point, one benefit. Beta, it's on, beta is on what? Serious infections, okay. So what are they trying to do with beta? There is a market promotion campaign for specialist hospital staff. And there is a rival product as well. So I said beta and investment of marketing beta should lead to sales growth and therefore take the product from the introduction stage to early maturity. However, there are two major risks. Okay, good side is by doing the promotion campaign, you are going to boost sales and profits. That is why I say from introduction it's going to push to maturity, because in the product life cycle diagram this is in introduction. What are the risks? Firstly, the marketing program may not succeed and sales revenue may not be significant enough to pay back the investment, because you are pushing it to maturity. Secondly, any investment may be wasted if a rival product is subsequently launched. Right? If a rival product is subsequently launched, so we have a problem. So two major risks, good side and the bad side. Finally, about gamma, the breakthrough drug. The drug represents the highest risk investment. Even with the investment, there is no certainty that gamma will successfully complete its final stage of clinical trials and reach the product launch. Yeah. However, the returns from the breakthrough drug is likely to be very significant. So I would prefer writing the benefits first and then the drawbacks. So it's the bad side first, then they're bringing the good side later. So guys, this is like, the last paragraph is like your final conclusion. Now, an important point to note is that when they say, the question says, evaluate the potential impact of the three investments on the product portfolio 3C, referring to your answer. You have done your evaluation. As a part of your answer, don't recommend, go ahead with this, right? But it's just that you have to like give a very vague recommendation. Like for example, you can say, this particular project has a high risk due to this. However, going ahead with this might be beneficial for the company, but this also has a lot of risk. So it's like in a corporate finance report. Now, just because the NPV is positive, we will never say, go ahead with that project. How do we write the report? We will say, if the project has a positive NPV, we will say, from a financial perspective, this project has a positive NPV. However, it is financially feasible. However, non-financial factors should be taken into account. That is how we write the report. So it's like a conclusion no one understands. Like the person who reads it is wondering, is this guy recommending it or is this guy rejecting this? So if the project is successful, you can say, I told you, no, the NPV is positive and that is why it's successful. If it doesn't work, you can say, I told you, you have to consider the non-financial fact. That is why it went wrong. So either way you're safe. That is why you have that phrase. Like when the auditors say it should have a true and fair view, where you take a sample and when you audit. Anyway, let's look at the conclusion. 3C may also consider the relationship between gamma and beta. Beta is I forget the product instantly. What is beta? It's the special stuff. Serious investment. Gamma is the HIV thing. If beta is not successful, the portfolio lack an introduction stage. Okay, the portfolio will not have an introduction. thus make an investment in gamma more important. Now once you read this conclusion, it never tells directly, go ahead with gamma. It's like, this is good, this is bad, this is bad, this is good. I think this is good, but this is also bad. There is a bad side of this. So that's how the conclusion should be done. It's like giving the good sides and bad sides both. But they have not asked for a conclusion. But whatever said and done, this is how the conclusion should be made. All right. So with that, we wind up question number 1. And so we have about 5 minutes remaining, and I think it's better to wind up the session for today, because actually I'm not feeling well today. So we'll wind up the session for today and maybe take some additional 5-10 minutes in the next lecture. So we'll wind up the session for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for coming for the revision program. I hope to see you again on Monday. So enjoy the weekend and hope to see you on Monday.